Good evening, everyone. Good morning for all of you. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me in the Real Estate Leading Change. My name is Ayla Aldjufrie. I'm 16 years old, and I'm the founder of company called Ayla Associate Consultant and Services, Global Property Bank and Technology Center. It's an education and also founder of Hujan Asset Management, London-based asset management company. And I am 22 years in real estate. And Real Estate Leading Change is the inclusiveness of World Women Leading Change, our women organization that is already in almost 60 countries. And Real Estate Leading Change purpose to revolutionize the real estate sector, to create higher consciousness that combined with the boldness of real estate. This inclusiveness is taking all the women all around the world to bring more women actually to be in the real estate sector. And tonight, this morning, we have the most privileged time because we will have this amazing man that actually one of the leverage of my real estate guru and teacher. And his book is my first book that I read in real estate. Before we go to our amazing guest, I think I want to acknowledge all the president in the house. Is President Debbie is in the house? I would like Her Royal Highness Princess Debbie. Is she in the house? No? Okay, I would like to acknowledge also the president of WWLC, Technology Leading Change, and President Chase. Can you say hi and open the words of prayer, please?
Good day, all. Welcome to the meeting, as President Ayla has already said. I'll just quickly want to open with a word of prayer. Let's bow our heads as we pray. Heavenly Father, we give you honor, we give you glory. I thank you for each and everybody live who's listening to this message, who's tuning in onto this WWLC conference. Lord, we ask for your wisdom. We ask you to lead us. Lord, protect us and take care of us, Jehovah, as we're going through this COVID. I pray that no harm will come to us or our family members. Lord, heal our world, we ask. In Jesus Christ's holy name we pray. Amen. We can have a moment of silence for all Christians. Thank you very much, Dr. Ayla.
Thank you, President Chase. We also have some other president in the house today. We have Mr. Aldrin, also one of my associate. Also the president, Princess Debbie is here. Her Royal Highness Princess Debbie, can you say hi? This is my president of real estate in Africa.
Yes, I'm
Hello.
here, President Ayla.
How are you?
How are you?
Great.
Very
great.
well, thank you. It's because we were with Mama Mojapelo because it's going to be her birthday on the 24th. Because of the COVID restriction, we had to do very quick. We took some cakes, we took some flowers, we took some nice wine from Lavo. Thank you so much, President Ayla. Thank you. I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here, President Ayla.
Hi.
I'm here.
Hi, Princess.
Hi.
Sending you much love. Yes. We also have President Barituala from the Youth President, President Empo from Lightning President, and also President, I think Norma, yeah, that representing creative arts, and of course Nadia. Tonight is very special because I have asked this gentleman for the past almost 6 months. Yes, actually tonight is not my my chance of doing real estate, but because he say okay, so I said okay, I will take this chance. Yes, Dr. Dolf de Roos is one of real estate guru. Yes, he renowned real estate investment authority, and then also teaching in over 25 countries, and he written about 15 books of real estate. He's also very well known as a billionaire and investor in real estate. He's also now transferring some of the real estate to technology. Yes. So if you want to learn from the best of the world, so this is Dr. Dolf de Roos. Hi, Dr. Dolf. How are you?
Hi there, Ayla. Thank you so much for your kind introduction. Thank you for having me here. It's a real pleasure for me. It's an honor. We, of course, go back many years. We used to do events in Indonesia. We have spoken at a number of events, been at a number of events together. So it is a pleasure connecting with you again. And you're right, it's taken a while for us to find a time that suits both of us, because, of course, between where I live, which is Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm not from there, I'll tell that maybe in a minute. I was born in New Zealand, but grew up in Europe. I'm a mixture. I'm either a citizen of the world or a mutt. Both are probably valid. But anyway, I live in Phoenix, and you in Indonesia, in Jakarta, are 14 hours ahead of me. So your original suggested time was 6 a.m., which isn't too bad. But last night, late last night, I returned back from the East Coast, which at this time of year is 3 hours ahead. So my body clock, for me to be up at 6 o'clock, was like a 3 a.m. meeting. And even that isn't the end of the world. But of course, I was doing big things over in Atlanta and New York. So that was just crazy for me. So we agreed on my 7 a.m. and that's how we got to be here. So it's a real pleasure. Thank you for your perseverance.
Thank you, Dr. Dolf. So today also Father's Day. Happy Father's Day for all the men. And before we go to the real estate, Dolf, can I ask you one thing, right? What is the most impactful thing or impactful moment you have as a father? And why?
Oh my gosh, because as a father, if you're a man, and of course, as you're a mother, if you're a woman, the same thing applies. We have an opportunity to change the world. Many people think that all they can do is live in a world that is predetermined for them. If you live with an oppressive regime or bad food quality or bad air quality, that's just the way it is. And it's not true. We create our own environment, and there are many ways we create, but one of them is we can educate our children. We can contribute to the way they see things. And that is why I always say to children, any children, not just my own, that there is no such thing as a silly question. The mere fact that there is a question that a child asks shows that we haven't done an adequate job as parents and adults in explaining the world to them. So I encourage questions. I encourage reading, and I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but my children never had difficulty reading. They did it with pleasure. And my friends would say, how do you get your children to read so easily? And I'd say, it's simple. You do not say, you've got to read more. If you don't read, you won't get dessert. That's all pressure. Children don't respond to that. How I'd get children to read is I'd just sit down on the couch and read a book. And they'd come along and they'd say, what are you doing, Dad? And you don't just say, I'm reading a book. You should too. I would say, oh my gosh, I'm reading this book. It's really exciting. And by the way, it has to be a really exciting book. You can't make it up. You can't fake it, because children can see through that. I'd say it's really a good book for this and this and this reason. And then they'd go away and they'd come back 5-10 minutes later and they'd curl up beside you on the couch with their own book. And then after a while, you can say to them, what are you doing? And they'll say, oh, this is a really good book, Dad. I think you'll like it. And they'll explain bits of it. We encourage curiosity in our children. We encourage seeing the world, understanding the world. So the best thing you can do as a parent, in my view, is to answer their questions and encourage curiosity.
Amazing. Amazing. Do you know, Dolf, that you actually changed my life? Like a flight attendant. I was a flight attendant when I
I
first time
remember,
reading your
yes.
book. And I was given your book by a friend that wanted to buy a real estate using my name. And I read the book, and I was like, imagine a flight attendant in Indonesia. And today I am in real estate, and I have the privilege to meet you sometimes like 5 or 6 years ago, going to the US, working together. And that's like just amazing. It's been amazing. But let's go to real estate. You know, I think you are the most fascinating guru in real estate of all time, of all time. Okay, I want to ask you the first question is, how do you enter real estate? For me, it's because of your book. How do you enter real estate? Tell me your journey.
Oh gosh, I'll try and keep it short. I came from a family that never had a chance to go to university. So my parents indoctrinated me with this idea that when you finish school, you go to university, because when you have a university degree, you can get a good job. And with a good job, you can build a career. And with a career, you can have financial certainty, everything they thought they missed. So when I finished school, off I went to university. But I looked around me at the people with the degrees, the professors, the tutors, the lecturers, and it occurred to me that they were not uniformly wealthy. They had very modest clothes, they drove very small cars, and they lived in tiny homes. And I thought there's something wrong with this equation that degrees equates to wealth. So I decided to make a study of the rich. I wanted to know, what do the rich have in common? Thinking, perhaps somewhat naively, that if I could identify 30 or 40 things that the rich did, and if I emulated those, then I would have a good chance of being rich. And it was a great theory, right? I think you'll agree. However, the challenge was I could hardly find anything that the rich had in common. It wasn't age, it wasn't gender, it wasn't religion, it wasn't country of origin, it wasn't whether you were the firstborn or the lastborn in the family. I could only find two things that the rich had in common. One is that almost without exception, the rich had integrity. Their word was their honor. And when I was 17 and I'd made the study, I didn't give much credence to that. I didn't think too much about it because I didn't know what to do with it. Of course, I've since learned a lot more about integrity, which is that integrity is not genetic. In other words, if you're not happy with your current level of integrity, you can decide to increase it right now while I'm speaking the sentence. And to the extent that you will do that, you will have more good things coming your way. But anyway, that was one. The second thing, the only other thing that I found that the rich had in common is that the rich either made their money or held their wealth in real estate. And I thought, man, if that's all it is that they do, I can do that. So at the tender age of 17, I set out to buy my first property. And I found a great deal, but I had trouble getting a bank to agree with me because I looked so young. When I was 17, I looked about 12. It was crazy. But after applying to many
I am
banks,
16 now. I'm forever 16.
I love it. When I finally found a bank that agreed, I bought the property, and at the end of the first month, I'd collected more in rent than it cost me in property taxes and insurance and maintenance and mortgage. I had made money and I hadn't worked for it. I thought, I've got to do this again. So I did it again and again and again. And I kept on studying because I didn't know whether real estate would work. But they say there are three kinds of students: part-time, full-time, and eternal. And I was the eternal kind. I spent 8 years at university. I ended up doing a PhD in electrical engineering. Many of you will recognize that's not the easiest subject around. And think back to my parents. They said degrees equates to wealth. So were they proud of their boy getting a PhD? Of course they were, right? And I admit I went to 2 job interviews. And at the end of the second interview, I was offered a job at $32,000 a year, which back then was a lot of money. But unfortunately for my prospective employer, the week before I had completed a real estate deal that netted me 35,000. And I remember thinking, why on earth would I work for an entire year for 32 lousy $1,000 when in 1 week I can make 35 and take the rest of the year off or do it again? So I never took that job. And to this day, I've never had a job, but I'm in real estate. That's what I largely do. I invest in real estate. Anyway, you asked how I got started. It's a long answer, but that's how I got started.
Interesting. And tell me about yourself. Like, where do you born? Little bit about your background. So I think more of these ladies here will want to know, right? How did you end up in Phoenix?
Okay, so I was born in New Zealand. My parents were Dutch and French. I have a mixed background. I didn't learn English till I was 6. And many people say, wow, despite the fact that you didn't learn English till you were 6, your English is pretty good. And I say, no, it's because of the fact that I didn't learn English till I was 6, because otherwise I would have learned English from my parents and I would have had a Dutch accent. The other day I went to the front of the line or something like that. So anyway, but I started kindergarten in Amsterdam. I ended up going to school in 6 countries. I've lived in another 7. I'm truly kind of the international person. This will be hard for many of your listeners to believe, but it's absolutely true. My parents got married in Surabaya in Indonesia.
Really?
Yes, they did.
So this is your home too, yes?
Yeah, no, it's true. They got married.
So you probably made here, conceive here.
Oh, well, no, we a lot of the words we use, like when we fan a fire, it's the kipasan. And, if I don't know something, it's sayatidatao. It's just, it got interwoven into our language. And so for me, Ayla, I don't know if you realize how serious this is, but when I visit Indonesia, it's more than just a casual, yet another country that I teach in. For me, it's an element of coming home. So this was a long time ago, of course, but then my parents lived in Indonesia again in the 1970s. So I've got a long association going back with Indonesia.
Wow, I didn't know that. Amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, I lived all over. I lived in Belgium. I lived in the Netherlands. I lived in Australia. And then at one stage, because when you get into real estate and, I'd written a number of books and I'm really blessed. I had one book that was on the New York Times bestseller list. And let's face it, the holy grail of books is not, and I don't want to demean any country, but it's not the Helsinki bestseller list or the Amsterdam bestseller list or the Sydney bestseller list. It's the New York Times bestseller list. That is the only standard by which people grade you, because we all know you can become an Amazon bestseller by getting 20 friends to buy your book at exactly 2:06 p.m. on Saturday, whatever, because then it spikes and the algorithm says, oh, you're an international bestseller. But to be on the New York Times list, it's done by merit, by sales. And I was on there for 7 months straight. So for me,
Real Estate Riches, my first book.
Oh, really? Wow. Well,
Yes.
that was my 4th book that I'd written. But yes, we've had a great run. That book has been translated into Bahasa. You might be interested to know. Gramedia has done 2 editions of it. It's been translated into Korean and Japanese and even Greek, and 6 languages in total.
Wow.
So it's all good fun. But anyway, at one stage I thought I've got to go to America, and I just luck out, Ayla. I go places and people hunt me down. So I was asked by Robert Kiyosaki to join the Rich Dad team, and I wrote the book in the Rich Dad's Advisor series. I was asked to teach at Tony Robbins. I've taught at Tony Robbins events, specifically Wealth Mastery, for some 20 years. The most recent one I did was a Wealth Mastery in Singapore. This is just before COVID set in. And then, even people like Trump hunted me down and got me to create course material on real estate for a product he was doing. So I've got CDs and DVDs with Trump, and he even did the forward to one of my books. So I seem to attract people, and we end up doing great deals together. So it's been a lot of fun.
Wow. So, Dolf, I actually wanted to recontact you because, currently the world today facing a merge block of debt. Yes, like, all of my friends that is in real estate, they have huge debt, right? There is a lockdown and there is a lot of difficulties on debt specifically now. What did you think about this debt in pandemic?
What do I think about the debt or the pandemic?
The debt that caused by pandemic. Like, what do you think of the debt of real estate today? Like,
Well, I have a different attitude from most people. And just to let everyone know, Ayla and I have not discussed what we're going to talk about. So it's a bit of, it's all news to me. But most people cannot sleep at night if they have too much debt. I can't sleep at night if I have too little debt. I lie awake thinking, I've got to get more debt.
I love that.
It's
yes.
true. And here's the reason. When you owe the bank, I mean, do you want me to talk in rupiah? When you owe the bank, 1 billion rupiah of debt, you've got a problem. But when you owe the bank 100 billion rupiah, they've got a problem. And they call you and they say, Dr. Dolf, how would you like to go to lunch this week? And you think, oh, we're going to go to lunch. But you're very smart and you think, hang on a minute. We went to lunch last week and they paid, so I suppose they want me to pay this time. And then they add, it's on us, of course, as usual. Why, when you owe the bank 100 billion rupiah, do they want to take you to lunch and pay for it? And the answer is they want to give you more money. And why do they want to give you more money? Because the alternative to giving more money to you is to give it to a stranger who applies for a mortgage. And they don't know if that stranger is going to pay the interest, let alone the principal. But because you always pay your mortgage every month, they're comfortable that you will pay the new money back. And they know you find great deals. So one of the, I was asked recently, I did an event for what's called the Platinum Partners. This is a group of people who go to Tony events who've paid $95,000 or something for the privilege of being on this event. And they said, could you please explain where the best place is to invest in the world, the best real estate in the world? And it's relevant to
Indonesia.
Your question. Well, I did talk about Jakarta, but I said, firstly, you should absolutely invest. You should invest in New Zealand because New Zealand is the only Western country that does not have a capital gains tax. Right? And you think about it, you buy something for $1 million, sell it for 10 million, and you do not pay capital gains tax on it. That's the only place in the world. I said, however, before you all fly to New Zealand, if you invest in the United States, we have the ability to fix our interest rate for 30 years and even 40 years. So right now, interest rates are about 2%. You can fix that for 40 years. No matter whether inflation kicks in and interest rates go up, you've got 40 years of fixed interest. That is pretty cool. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I said, maybe it should be America. And then I talked about other countries. And believe it or not, I even talked about Jakarta, because you have the worst congestion in the world. The traffic jams are the worst in Jakarta than anywhere. And why should that be a good thing? Well, of itself, of course, it's not a good thing. There's a lot of fumes and waiting. However, a long time ago, we put a helipad on a building in Jakarta, and we reduced the transit time from the airport or to the airport from the CBD in Tamrin from about 3 hours when it's really congested to 15 minutes. And the rental went up by the equivalent of $2 a square foot, so about $10 a square meter. And it was about a 10,000 square meter building. So the rental went up by $100,000 and cap rates were 10%. So the value of the building went up by $1 million. So my point was, the most valuable piece of real estate is not in New Zealand or in America or in Jakarta. It's the 6 inches or the 15 centimeters give or take a centimeter or two between your right ear and your left ear, because it's what you create in that space that ultimately will determine your net worth. You can find the best real estate deals in the world in your own city. If you're in Africa, then you'll find great deals in Africa. Can you find great deals in Jakarta or New Zealand or America or France or Italy? Yes, of course. But you don't need to travel very far to find them. There are always great deals, because the great thing about real estate, unlike the stock market, futures or options or certificates of deposits or treasury bills, they are all regulated and organized by computer. It's very efficient, so there's never a bargain. But in real estate, it's an ad hoc market. There is always a bargain. Someone's selling in a hurry, a divorce situation, a death in the family. They don't want the real estate. Just get rid of it quickly, and they will dispose of it. There are great opportunities in real estate all the time.
Duduknya bungkuk.
Interesting, interesting.
Sini coba. Duduk sini coba. Duduk sini.
So,
Mundur lagi bokongnya. Lurus sini.
Muhammad has his microphone on.
yes, yes. Let me bisa ini ya, bisa dimatiin. Nadia, can you yes, can you okay, I think it's done. So, you know, Dolf, currently I understand that you're very positive, right? Currently a lot of company now is in emerged debt. How do you think people have to structure or restructure or refinance or the debt? Let's say, for example, a company with equity one with 7, the equity is 1 billion, but debt is 7 billion. But debt is also, you know, if people tell me like, oh, you have so much debt, you know, debt is actually also an asset, right? Because asset is equity plus liability, right? See, how do you, you know, as like, for example, you want to buy a company with a huge debt, you know, like the equity is 1, the debt is 7. Obviously, company with debt of 7, they have to show that they have a capacity of 8, 9, or 10, right? So how do you do that restructuring? Like in the very,
you have to ask yourself, do you need restructuring? So you say 1 billion of debts, 1 billion of assets, 7 billion of debt. What's the interest rate, and is the interest rate fixed or floating?
interest rate, some fixed and some floating.
And
Let's
what's
say
the
average of 7.
7%. And then what is this piece of real estate earning? Is it yielding 10% or 23% or 50%? Or is it -2%?
About 10 to 11, but now let's say it's stuck, you know, because there is no income. Let's say
The income has gone to 0?
not 0, but level down, yeah, because there is no people, you know, because it's like let's say in the tourism area, right? What do you do with it? Are you, let's say the bank, no bank will want to refinance, or because it's already like the top. How do you suggest, like, for example, a company to do this?
Well, I think you're looking at the wrong problem, because what I'm hearing is you've got 1 billion of assets, 7 billion of debt. Your
Equity.
interest on the debt on average is 7%, but your income has gone from 10%, which gives you a nice profit. It's gone down to, say, 5%. So you're running at a loss. You're going to go bankrupt. You're going to go under. You're going to lose everything. So instead of looking at refinancing the debt, because a simple answer is we'll just refinance the debt, that's only 2%, but no one's offering money at 2%. So we have to think differently. We have to think creatively. And here's what we've been doing. So I go in and see clients and help restructure, but not the debt. We can't restructure debt. We restructure what the portfolio does. So for instance, let's say they've got a hotel and it had average occupancy of 78% before, and that's what gave them that 10% return, which enabled them to pay the mortgage at 7%. But now occupancy rates are down at 20%. They're running at a loss. They're going to go bankrupt as sure as day follows night. So what we've been doing is we've been changing the use of the hotel. I'll give you two examples. One is to change it from a hotel where guests come to spend the night when they're traveling away from home. We've changed it to what we call an assisted living facility. Because in Indonesia and in the United States and many parts of the world, with the exception of Germany and Japan, the population is increasing. However, the proportion of elderly is increasing at an even faster rate than the population itself. So the demand and the need for assisted living, rest homes, care homes, memory homes, geriatric care, Alzheimer's care, it's going up exponentially. And hotels, especially smaller ones, make great conversions to assisted living, because for old people, you can't have stairways going up, you need elevators. Well, all hotels have elevators in America anyway. And you know, you need a communal kitchen facility. Most hotels have that. So the conversion from a hotel to an assisted living facility is really easy. And then we find we're getting a higher return than we did before the pandemic, except we wouldn't have thought of doing this without the pandemic. So in that weird sense, the pandemic's been really good for us.
Yeah,
So that's
pandemic
one
is also been very good to me, Dolf. I have now a live show like this.
Well, there we go. And then I said I'd give two examples. The other one is that most hotels are places where people spend the night when they're away from home. And what we've done is we've converted some hotels to places where people spend the day when they're living at home. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people have been working from home on Zoom and all the other video services, and they think it's great to work from home. There's no commute, there's no rush hour traffic, no pollution, no petrol consumption in the car. However, the spouse is also working from home and the children are attending school from home and the parrot is chirping away and the dog is barking and the cat is meowing and it's driving them crazy. So they could go to what here we call a WeWork situation. That's a communal work environment where you share a desk and share toilets, but it's not what we want in the pandemic. So many people are opting to go and spend a day in a hotel room because it's quiet, they've got internet, they've got private bathrooms, the chances of getting COVID are pretty small, and you don't have everyone else in the house making noise. So it's just a matter of thinking. That's why I say the most valuable piece of real estate is the 15 centimeters, give or take a centimeter or two between your right ear and your left ear, because it's what you create there that will determine your net worth.
Interesting. So you have to separate the asset, yes, the asset. You separate and then you try to add the value on the asset, right? That's
well,
what
whatever your assets are, you rethink a use for them. What else can we do with these?
So
if you have a thrift shop, a second-hand shop that's not doing very well, replace it with a coffee shop that is doing well. Now, I don't know if a coffee shop in Jakarta would do as well as a coffee shop here. If you get a Starbucks or a Gloria Bean or a Seattle's Best as a tenant, that is a high rupiah per square meter rental, more so than a thrift shop.
Yeah.
So think of what else can we do? Constantly think, what else can we do? And if you hadn't done that, Ayla, if you hadn't constantly thought, what else can I be doing? You'd still be a flight attendant. So you've constantly thought, and you decided to get into real estate. And you've got to try other things because life is like a book. And if you don't do all kinds of different things, then you take that book and you only read the first page over and over again, the same page over and over again. Same job, same company, same friends. You gossip about the same topics. No, read the rest of the book. Find out the other characters in the book, the plot development. And that's what life's like. Try other careers, try something else. If a hotel isn't working at a hotel, turn it into something else. You can't refinance debt. If you've got, 7 billion rupiah of debt, what are you going to go to another bank and say, my current bank's not happy with me, so I want to make a new bank unhappy with me? Just not
Interesting. So, Dr. Dolf, last question. What is your dream? What do you want to change in the real estate world? I know you changed my life, and probably many other people's life, Well, what is your dream? What do you want to change in real estate?
There comes a point
because
in time when you realize.
I say in the world there are only like 4 top people on real estate, and you are one of them. I say there is you, there is probably Robert Kiyosaki, and there is Donald Trump, of course, the one and only. And you see, I can't find any other people. It's only 3, Dolf, so. And I am a very successful real estate now. So I want to know, what do you want to change?
Well, after a while, you realize
your
that
dream
maybe
or
an extra lump of money isn't going to make all the difference. Traveling to another country isn't going to make a difference. And you realize we're going to be dead for a mighty long time. So the question comes up at some stage, how can the world be a little bit better because I've been blessed with a very small period of time on this planet, small relative to the age of the planet. And the way I think to do that is to change people's lives, to make them think differently and perhaps do something differently from what they might have done. And I run a mentoring program. Yesterday, we had our 100th consecutive weekly session. It was labeled number 100. And I almost couldn't make it because I was at an airport in Atlanta, and it was during my flight. I had to not only change my flight, but change airline. And I did it from an airport lounge. And everyone took a turn at their request to share with me what they've been gaining from what I've been doing. And it brought tears to my eyes because I've impacted each and every one of their lives just by talking with them. So my dream is to be able to have a positive impact on people's lives because I get blessed to share a bit of time with them. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty fulfilling day.
Wow. Well, you changed my life, Dolf. Now I'm in woman empowerment, and I want to empower more people and bring you to Africa because we are going to Africa. There is a woman here who wanted to. I remember my conversation with you when we go to Bali, and I think we have an ice cream that when I asked you about how you were saying to me something really, really interesting that if you want your dream to be reality, then you're gonna have to help people's dream to be reality, something like that. I can't remember how you say it, but it was for the 5 years is going to my head, like, how can I, it's amazing. It's one word, amazing, one word, right? You say, if you want to get your dream, you need to help people to fulfill their dreams, and eventually your dream will be reality, like that's like amazing. So I actually wanted to teach in Africa and to teach more women to be smart. Like there's one lady, she wanted to build the road, Dr. Dolf, from Cape Town to Cairo.
She wanted to build the what, sorry?
She wanted to build the road. She's here actually. She's my president of infrastructure. Her name is President Rebecca. She's here. She wanted to build the road from Cape Town to Cairo. That's about 10,000 kilometers. Yes. So I tell her, okay, I'll go. You go build the road. I go get the money. Say, I go rob everybody. Because there's a lot of money in this world. I say, you go and build the world. But I say all the real estate has to be, established, because that's the only way you can make the money. Not from the road, but from the real estate. Yes. So she's actually here, and I want to take you to Africa as soon as possible, So
well, I've done many tours of Africa, speaking tours. I think about 20.
But not with Dr. Ayla.
Not with Dr. Ayla, no.
Yes, so so I'm looking forward for it, and I want to introduce also the ladies here that uh, we have amazing mentor, and don't be afraid to jump into real estate to reach very far because it's one life. Yes, Dr. Dolf, one life.
Não, Prof, kan
Well,
cuma
as far as we
And
know,
we're gonna
we
be,
don't
how you say, we're gonna be dead for a long, long time.
know. Probably.
Yes. So now I open Dr. Dolph for questions for all the ladies here. Please raise your hand if you want to ask questions and if you want to get to know world best guru of real estate. In all my bookshelves, like a lot of it is your book, Dolph.
Oh, wow.
Real estate riches. I have the commercial real estate. I have so many of your book. I have the video. I'm like huge fan of yours.
Oh, that's very nice to
And
hear.
I keep learning. So
And I've worked with a number of women's organizations around the world. There's one in the States called the WIN, the Women's Information Network. I'm the only male speaker in that organization. And there's one out of Australia called Wildly Wealthy Women. And I'm the only male speaker
wow.
for them.
Introduce us to this woman. Yes. So
Oh, someone has their hand up.
any questions on the platform?
Yes, someone has their hand up, Ayla.
Yes. Any questions? Yes, please go ahead. Yes, Paul. Go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask Dr. Roos why he's been everywhere in the world and he's lived in many countries. Why did he choose to now live in the US? What's special about the way he is?
I'm based here. There are some advantages here, but I'm a realist. People always ask me, what's the best country in the world? And I don't believe in the concept of there being only one country that's the best in everything. Because I do live here by choice and I'm blessed. I have a lot of passports legally because, New Zealand law, for instance, says anyone born in New Zealand is a New Zealander. I qualify. Dutch law says anyone born out of a Dutch wedding is Dutch, no matter where they're born. So I qualify there. So I can live anywhere. And I choose to live in the States for now. But when it comes to food, for instance, I think the food in Indonesia or Thailand or Vietnam is way better than the food in the United States. The food here is in general not very good. We have double the sugar consumption per capita compared with the rest of the OECD world. And we also have double the rate of diabetes. You've got good restaurants here, but the food is terrible. The education in the United States, we have the best of the top 10 universities. 9 are in the States: Harvard, Princeton, Yale, MIT, Stanford, etc. However, the average level of education is not very good. The United States is 48th in the world in terms of standardized tests comparing students. So I'm a realist. But when it comes to doing business, it's kind of a good country. I can set up a company within 90 minutes. We can do it online now. Get a name, make sure it's unique, pay the fee, and we've got a company. We can get our credit card machine working this afternoon, and by the time it's 5 p.m., we can have a business up and running, and we've done our first sale. I lived in Belgium for 7 years. It takes 3 months and multiple thousands of euros to set up a company, and then you're taxed to smithereens. So there are some things that are good in every country and some things that are not so good. One of the things I love about the US for real estate is that we can fix our interest rate for 40 years. That means when we buy a property, we never need to worry that the bank's going to increase the interest. I love it. Will I stay here forever? I'm not sure. My youngest child is now 20. And I think it might be time for me to spend less time, being the parent and more time traveling again. So Indonesia, here I come. It's just, it's a mixture. There's nothing that is the best in any area. Everything is a blend. And the trick is not even to worry about finding the best all the time. The trick in life is to enjoy where things are at where you are. So when you're in Indonesia, enjoy the food and the friendliness and the creativity. And when you're in New Zealand, enjoy the scenery and the fact that there's no capital gains tax, and on it goes. Just be happy, because again, time is limited, you know.
Yes. Yes. So we have second people who raised their hand. Her Royal Highness, Princess Debbie. Over to you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Dolf. I was listening to you. You said that you can set up a business very quickly. And there is a heritage house that we want to preserve with Dr. Ayla here in South Africa. And we want that it should be the first of its kind as the World Women Leading Change, buying a property that is a heritage kind of a property and preserving, so that we can showcase the world that women can do it, they can make it. And preserving it is going to be also like a skill center. We are also going to teach them on the issues of the real estate. Is just waiting for us. It is in the high, upmarket place here in South Africa. I think out of this meeting, President Ayla will discuss with you how do we want to take the process forward. Yes, President Rebecca wants to build a road. I think it won't be a road, because I hear that you managed to put a handicap right in Indonesia on top of the building. And I don't think that Indonesia, Jakarta, is the only congested. I've been to Taiwan. I've never seen such a congested, town in Taipei. But please make our dreams with President Ayla, World Women Leading Change, to ensure that World Women Leading Change real estate heritage house become a reality. I thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very kind. Thank you for your words. I hear you. Thank you.
Thank you, Princess Debbie. Here, some of your book, The Great Real Estate Investment and Adventure Course, and Wealth Magnet.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and Commercial Real Estate Course.
Yeah.
And of course, my first book.
Wow, Real Estate Riches.
Yes, I actually give it to all my directors that normally joining the company, so they can read, so they can have similar vision,
Wow, I'm honored.
Yes. I actually have the book that you still sign is for me. So I think we have one more guest. One more people want to ask question. President Chase, yes.
Yes, Dr. Ayla, thank you. I'm President Chase from Namibia.
President for Technology, yes.
Yes. I want to ask Dr. Dolf a question.
Yes.
Is it possible to start your real estate journey without money, or do you need money in order for you to invest in real estate?
Well, one of the things I describe in that book, Real Estate Riches, that Ayla just held up, is if you want to invest in anything else, like the stock market or shares or options or futures, and let's say you want to buy 1 billion rupiah of stocks or options, or rand or whatever, you need the money in cash. No banks will lend you money enabling you to buy stocks. But when it comes to real estate, all over the world, banks are advertising. Do you want to buy real estate? Come and see us. We'll give you the money to buy it. Now, in residential, they typically go to 80%, and in commercial, they typically go to 60%. But it is absolutely possible to buy real estate without any cash. Obviously, it's easier with some, but even without any cash, because You might get a 70 or 80% mortgage from the bank, but all you need to do is ask the seller, I'll buy this from you at your asking price, but would you consider leaving 20% in? And many of them will say, no, get out of here. But 1 in 10, 1 in 20 might say, okay, they don't know what they're going to do with the money anyway. And then you've bought it with no cash. So yes, of course it's possible. That's what I love about real estate. You're limited only by your creativity.
Okay. So buying commercially is much better than I don't know what you're trying to explain. Like if you buy a house commercially, you get 60% of it from the banks.
No,
Like if
it's not buying a house commercially. You either buy a place where people live, which is called residential real estate, or you buy a place where people work, which is commercial. They conduct commerce there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
banks tend to lend a lower proportion of the purchase price on commercial for some reason, I don't know why, than on residential. But there are ways around that too. You know, I bought an empty funeral parlor. It was vacant. It was cheap. And before
Sorry? Funeral, what? Funeral.
What's that?
What you say? You're buying the funeral place? Maybe that can make a lot of money now, yes?
Well, my tenant claimed that business was dying, but that's a joke. Anyway, so it was empty. It had been empty for 3 years. So the price was very cheap. But before buying it, I found a tenant. And at that point, the value went up. So I bought it for a cheap price, but I had a tenant in there. So it was very valuable. And when the bank gave me 50% of the value, that covered the purchase price. So that's how you do deals with no money in real estate.
So you just have to find a smart way around it.
Well, you have to find a vacant place that you can find a tenant for. Because if you find a vacant place but can't find a tenant, then it's not worth much to you either. The trick is in finding the tenant. And that's what I'm an expert at. I've 101 ways of finding a tenant for a property. And with a tenant, it's worth more to me than the seller. And the bank gives me all the money I need. That's why I like banks and I like debt. I mean it. I don't sleep well at night if I have too little debt.
I love that. So I should borrow more.
Yes.
All right. Now I have this Madam Eugena. President Eugena. Yes, President Chase. You're not you finished? Or yes.
Yeah, I have a second question. Which one of Dolf's book will be best to read first?
Real Estate Riches, because it's not a how-to book, it's a why-to book.
Real Estate
Everything
Riches.
is the why. Why? This is very good book.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ayla. Thank you very much, Dolf.
You're welcome.
President Ayla, no, I was just saying that, can you take a photo of it and send it to our group, please, President Ayla? Thank you.
Yes. I
cannot see
maybe
properly.
15 of all Dolf books. I'm his huge fan. And I collect them before I met him. Eventually, I finally met Mr. Dolf, and I think we have a nice time to Bali and, enjoying the scenery and everything. So it's been amazing. So I say, President Eugena, yes, over to you. We have 6 minutes to go, because we promised Dolf 1 hour.
Okay, don't worry. I'll take just 2 minutes. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Happy Father's Day, Dr. Dolf.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Ogenna Walter Ekubiri, and I am the country president for World Women Leading Change Nigeria. I am also a real estate enthusiast. I actually do real estate investment advisory, but mainly sales for now, because I do not really have the money to develop. However, just as Dr. Ayla said, I am also a very huge fan of yours. I've read one of your books. I follow you on social media platforms, and I just want to say thank you, right? Thank you for the gift of you. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for all you do. you're a citizen of the world, and you have really impacted people like myself, and I can tell Dr. Ayla. And I believe strongly in the law of attraction. Just as Dr. Ayla said, she got your books even before she met you. And so we can't wait to welcome you in Africa, just as my president had said. So thank you
that's
so
very
much.
kind. You know, I used to go to Nigeria a lot. I've been to Abuja, I've been to Port Harcourt,
Oh, wow.
Lagos, of course. I've done events there.
Oh,
I've posted photos on Instagram of my trips to Nigeria.
when was the last time you came, sir?
Oh, a long time ago now. Probably,
Okay, so
I
you
don't know,
need to
8 or
come
10 years
again.
ago. You know, but I enjoyed it. I used to run a company in Nigeria, and every year I took the top 80 people on a trip somewhere. Once we went to Thailand, once we went to Greece,
Oh.
once we went to France.
Oh, really?
So I have a long association with Nigeria. Yes.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. I mean, we have our challenges in Nigeria and Africa, but we are dogged and we are willing to rise from the ashes. And so we can't wait to have you again. We can't wait to have you in Africa with Dr. Ayla. And God bless you. Okay, so I have to go.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ayla.
Thank you.
Happy
I
Father's
appreciate
Day.
it. Thank you so much.
This is
Thank
one
you.
of my very famous presidents. She's also a beauty pageant, yeah, very famous in Africa. So, you know, I have all amazing women here in my woman organization. There is like a lot of royals, a lot of top-notch women, you know, so you'll be surrounded by us, Dolf.
Yeah.
So I have one more question. I think from President Keketso. She's our president for, I think, lightning leading change. Yes, or art of kindness. Yes, President Keketso. She's also a lawyer.
Yes, good afternoon. I just wanted to check, and I probably shouldn't be asking a question like this as a lawyer, but how can one try and avoid paying capital gains tax? I mean, are there, tricks or methods that can
Yes,
be
there
used
are.
in some
And I'm going to
instances
tell you a
avoid
secret.
capital gains?
I'm going to tell you a secret which is so sensational that governments would love to shut me down and prevent me from saying the next few sentences, but they can't because it's 100% legal. And this is the best way of avoiding capital gains tax in just about any country. And the way you do it, and listen very carefully, in my book, Real Estate Riches, it's one of my 8 golden rules. The best way to avoid capital gains tax for the rest of your life and your children's life and your grandchildren's life is never to sell the property. Why would you want to sell it? If you don't sell, you don't pay capital gains tax, because in most countries, it's called a realized capital gains tax. You don't pay the tax unless you sell. So don't sell. But it's not that you shouldn't sell to avoid paying capital gains tax. Selling is an absolutely asinine thing to do, because the moment you sell it, you pay capital gains tax. You have to pay what's called depreciation recapture tax. You pay a sales commission. And most importantly, you'll never earn another rupiah or dollar or euro or rand from that property ever for the rest of time until the stars burn out. Whereas if you don't sell the property, you don't pay capital gains tax, you don't pay depreciation recapture tax, you don't pay a selling commission, and you keep on earning income from that property. And over time, the rents will rise and the value of the property will rise. And you go back to the bank because you too will have difficulty sleeping because you have too little debt. And you say, Mr. Bank Manager, when I bought this property, it was only worth €1 million. But now it's worth 10 million euros. Thank God I didn't sell it. And I want to refinance so that I can borrow more money. I'll borrow 70% of my 10 million, and now I'll have 7 million borrowed. I'll sleep at night again when I have 7 million of debt instead of 1 million of debt. Never, ever, ever sell.
Okay.
I love that. I love that. I think I have one more people raise hand, or we finished. Yeah, it's 1 hour. Yes. So Dr. Dolf, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for just showing up, and thank you for your amazing work of
You're welcome.
on
It's
the
been
book.
my
You know?
pleasure.
You
Thank you
know,
for organizing it.
you change life of a very, very young woman from the village in Indonesia to be who I am today, you know. So that's a lot of leverage, and keep creative, keep being creative, and teach more. And I hope to see you very soon and bring you to Africa. We're going to have like a conference and also a lot of things in Africa, including building the highway. And stay healthy, Dr. Dolf, and happy Father's Day. Love and light.
Thank
Yes?
you all so much.
Also,
Thank you all. I love you all. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you all again soon.
yes.
We love
Thank you,
you. Thank you
ladies.
for
Love you. Love and light from Jakarta. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Nadia minta lagunya ya. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dr. Ayla.
Nadia, where is our song? Nadia.
We are the women leading change, leading change.
Nadia, where is Nadia? So let me finish with my work, and then I come to Africa. Yes, we built the road. Nadia, where is Nadia?
Yes, yes, yes.
Can we have our song? I think Nadia is sleeping. Okay, we say, we are, let's sing together. We are the woman leading change, leading change. We are woman leading change,
Leading change.
for
We
Africa, for Africa, for all the
everyone in the world. Love, peace,
love, peace,
peace
needed
in this world.
unity,
Leading in the world for peace
us
in the world.
you
Needed. Calirado fella. Calirado fella. Calita. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day.
Woman,
We are the ones.
love you all.
Bye-bye.
Healthy. Bye bye.
We are the woman leading change, leading change. We are the woman leading change. It's finished. I only came in. Mom Debbie said, I might not put on the video. So I came in. La, 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 la. Forgive. Woman leading change. United. Woman leading change.